If you're as shocked as we are, Halas Hall did not burn down today after the insane day that happened all across Bears news. We got rumors, we got troops, we got Zack Pearson on that was actually there today that got to see it all himself. And also, happy birthday to Ryan Poles. He turned, I think it's is it 40? No, he's 40. Yeah, no, he's 38 today. So happy birthday. Happy birthday to Ryan Poles. But Zack, welcome to the show, man. What the hell happened at Halas Hall today?
Yeah, it was a wild day. I've been doing this for about 8 seasons now, and it was probably the craziest day I can remember. There's been some weird days. Like a couple years ago, there was a day we came in after a road game on a Monday. Someone over the weekend at Halas Hall had some little like gathering, and they threw all the leftover sushi away in the garbage, and it sat in there, and it stunk in the media room. I remember that. I remember the Christmas or the Thanksgiving, the Friday after Thanksgiving, where there was a report that Matt Nagy is going to get fired a couple of years ago. This by far like just takes the cake. This was an absolute like crazy day. Like it just felt like every time you settled down and you were able to just kind of like relax, like something else was popping up. Like the left tackle's on IR, Nate Davis is back. Justin Fields pretty much throwing his coaches under the bus, then taking it back. And then obviously the whole Alan Williams thing. It was just weird day at Halas Hall.
Can't forget Nathan Peterman's no longer part of the team.
Yeah, and then as I'm leaving, like they dropped that on us. It's like, what is going on here? Like this is a wild day. And I'm not the only one that's echoed these. If you look at any of the beat reporters on Twitter, a lot of them, have said like this is, whether they've been there longer than me or less than me, they've all said, yeah, this is like one of the craziest days we've literally ever seen here.
So let's start it from the beginning. The whole day, because from noon Central Time to 5 p.m., you and I were talking about before the show, it was absolute chaos. So many stories, so many tweets. So like I remember I was sitting back and I just got back from a work trip and I'm just sitting there like, do I tweet? Do I stay back? Do I start texting people? Other reporters are starting to text me like, are you hearing the right thing? Are you hearing the right thing? Everyone looks like Spider-Man pointing at each other. So let's start with Justin Fields making comments about throwing the coaches under the bus because Flus came up and tried to clarify it.
Yeah.
But so you were in the room for that.
Yes.
What was kind of the vibe? Like what was Justin? I mean, we all saw it. It was live. Like you can't go back on it. But what exactly from your perspective happened?
So I guess, right away, I'll say this, like the first 2 weeks of the regular season that we've talked to Justin Fields, it's been kind of like, I don't want to say like robotic answers. He's been a little quiet, a little shy on things. Today, for whatever reason, when he came in, it was just like a different energy when he was talking. Right off the bat, he was getting asked about the game on Sunday, what went wrong, not running as much, struggling throwing, what's he seeing on film, things like that. And you just tell it's like a different energy from him. And, I think the quote that's being out there that everyone heard was, he was asked, why does he think he is so robotic? And it, said something about coaching and all that. He said more after the answer. And we all kind of were just like, oh, okay, like this is kind of odd.
Shots fired.
Yeah, shots fired. And then I just pulled up the quote actually. It's like, could be coaching, I think at the end of the day, they're doing their job when they are giving me what to look at. But at the end of the day, I can't be thinking about that when the game comes. So it was kind of like coaching himself a little bit. But he also just kind of hinting at stuff about offense and the play calling, I'd say. And at the end, he said, they've been telling me all offseason, they told me all offseason to work on being a pocket passer. And that was kind of like the end where you're like, whoa, okay. Like there's the confirmation that we've all kind of been waiting for, speculating that's real. So they're looking at a couple other reporters and you're like, did you hear that? Like that's something there. And I definitely did not expect him to have to talk again Matt Eberflus handled it in front of the media pretty well. He kind of was just giving basic answers. Like he wasn't, throwing Justin under the bus or anything like that. You don't get a lot out of Matt Eberflus. That's just kind of his style, his persona. But yeah, it was just like, whoa. And then like also Matt Eberflus says, Braxton Jones is out for the year, or is not out for the year, but is out for at least 4 games, the neck injury, and Nate Davis is back. Oh, by the way, yeah, here you go. Yeah. And then it kind of just, I don't want to say snowball, but kind of just picked up from there.
So Zach, let's go back to Fields real quick because I was watching it live. I didn't hear you. You didn't ask anything, did you?
No, not today. No,
I was listening because I knew you were live tweeting, and when Fields has been up there, he's been kind of moped back in his chair, like, oh yeah, like whatever kind of deal.
Yeah.
And
it's hard to hear him a little bit too.
Right. But the second you got him going today, he like raised his head up a little bit more. He's like, yeah. And like the blood started flowing a little bit. And I'm like, oh man, like he's getting something, you're unlocking something. Like it felt like that with Justin. So while we're on the topic of Justin, the reason I was messaging you, because I saw you literally on camera from the 79th and Hallstatt guys, I think it was. Yeah. They took a video and you were like right in Justin's face, like, hey, like what's going on? And so when he clarified it, can you kind of give the tone of his clarifying answer? Was it different? Was it like a tone like I was talk to you guys, or did he sincerely want to actually clarify what he said?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think it was more of he wanted to clarify it. He was very forthcoming. He told us, he respects the media, he respects what we do. He tries to do his best to provide information and quotes for us to use to do our jobs, which is appreciative. And it was also just kind of like, but I don't want my quotes being taken out of context. And I think what he was pointing to was maybe a couple of tweets that were out there. I don't know. He didn't say the exact thing. I'm guessing it's probably just like a couple of tweets that said coaching in it. Maybe probably including one of mine. I don't know. The story I wrote, I don't think I put that quote in there. But I mean, he also did say it too, which is kind of like, I mean, you could take it for what it is. Do I think he was purposely throwing him under the bus or anything? No, I don't think so. I don't think he's that type of person. And then he owned up to it. He said, if there's ever a mistake, if there's ever a play gone wrong, I'm not going to blame my coach. I'm not going to blame my teammates. And to me, I believe that because I don't think he's ever done that. I've never heard him do anything like that in the couple years that he's been in Chicago. He's been very forthcoming. This is the first time this has happened. So this is not like this, he comes in and does press conferences in the locker room at all. He's, just kind of in by himself in his locker. Cause like we can't really ask him questions in there after he talked. So yeah, it was just, I don't know. It was weird. It was like, okay, like, I guess he's very forthcoming with this. He really means it. He wants to get it off his chest, clarify. And I appreciate that. So yeah, I don't think it was anything that was like, I don't know. Maybe it was a little like he had a little talking to, like, hey, you said this is being taken out of context a little bit. Let's kind of clear it up. But yeah, it was just interesting times. It was very interesting.
To me, looking at, I mean, you were right there, so maybe I'm looking at it incorrectly. But he looked pissed when he was talking to you guys. Like he was like going like this and like, no, that's not what I said. I was like, oh damn, he's mad now.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he was like, I don't want to say like, I don't want to speak for him and say he was like just pissed off at everyone. I think he was just like a little frustrated.
Sure.
And he wanted to kind of, and I was a little behind him too, so it's kind of hard to hear the full thing. But I mean, I got the gist of it and the most of it. So I just think he was just kind of frustrated because it's just been a frustrating season. They're 0-2. He hasn't played well. He'll tell you that. He'll admit it. He has not played well at all. The offense has not played well. The defense has been bad. They got a tough game coming up this week. So I think it's just a lot of frustrations oozing out of Hallas Hall.
And I'm kind of happy though, as a fan. And I think that this is something that needed to be done. Was he did kind of call out. He called out Getsy, and he called out Eberflus. And this segues very well into the next subject that we need to clarify for people that you saw was Eberflus talking today. There was the quote saying that he wanted Justin to be free, whether that be on the field, whether that be speaking to the coaches. And I like that came after. And because Flus clearly is listening to what his guys are saying.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of, I mean, I've come out and said it a few times, everyone can justify for that. I'm sure you've seen me say it. But I feel like the communication isn't there between these guys, and Fields is kind of being like Mitch, told what to do and not playing to his strengths. So why don't we, Zach, what can you kind of like explain? Cause we're going to talk about Al Williams, folks. Like that's the big topic of today. Like we've already, yes, Braxton Jones is on IR. Offensive line's a mess. We all know that. Nate Davis is back. Thank goodness. Happy all that's cleared up. And then Darnell Mooney is looking to be back as well, which is great. But can you talk about Eberflus's kind of reaction overall to Fields' comments and also just kind of the vibe when he was up there? Because I will say Flus has gotten very good with the media. At least from what I've seen, he's handling it a lot better.
I don't think there was like any like anger, like, you know, oh wow, quarterback said this. All right, like let's throw him on. No, it wasn't anything like that. I think it was just he understood. He understands the frustration that's coming from Justin Fields. They all want to play better. They all want the offense to be well. And now Flus had to pick up the extra, play calling duties too. So there's a lot going on with him. I think it was more of just like, I don't know, to kind of put it this way. I think it was just like clarifying and like saying, yeah, we are on the same page. Like we did talk after the game. We got to figure some stuff out. We have to play Justin to his strengths. Like you said, like we want Justin to be open and more forthcoming and stuff with the media and do his thing. I think like I don't know what happened inside that building, if they read all the buzz with the media throughout the offseason about him becoming a pocket passer. For whatever reason, they decided, okay, he's got to be a pocket passer. And that was my big worry. Like, I do agree you got to be a little bit of a better passer. Fields has to progress in that. However, you don't want to tell him you can't run, like stay in the pocket. Like we're not taking away your best weapon. Like you can't do you have to let him use his feet.
That was those perfectionist comments, right?
Like, yes. And he said it too. Yeah. He's like, sometimes being a perfectionist hurts me. Like it's a fault of mine. It could be also a good thing too. So yeah, I don't think like Eberflus, like there was any ill will or anything like that. I think he actually handled it really well for a head coach that, like you said, was probably listening to what Justin was saying. So yeah, I'm sure they probably talked after and figured. I don't think like it's anything like these two hate each other or anything like that.
No, I hope that's not the vibe that everyone's kind of been picking up. Yeah, because they always have a good relationship, and Flus even walks over to him. It's not like when Nagy's like grabbing him by the front of the jersey, like, "Hey, let's talk like right now." Eberflus is like, "Okay, like I need to focus on the next stuff." This is before Al Williams was no longer with the Chicago Bears. He was always I'm a defensive guy. I'm the head coach. I'm going to trust my coordinators to handle this. The one thing I personally would have loved to have seen is Getsy follow up from Eberflus at media today. Because I assume Poles is going to come out tomorrow with a conference. I'm sure you're going to get a text tomorrow. Hey, you got to go up to Hallas Hall.
Yeah.
Like they're going to have a conversation. I hope that Getsy comes out maybe. Flus is the defensive coordinator now, but you can't. I personally am just super overall frustrated with him. I think that's kind of the vibe of the entire fan base. But in the building, like, how is everyone treating Getsy the same? Is everyone kind of loving him? Like, what are you seeing as a guy there day to day?
Yeah, so usually Getsy talks on Thursdays. It's Getsy, Hightower, and then it was Alan Williams. So yeah, I guess, if Poles doesn't speak tomorrow, he's kind of putting Richard Hightower and Luke Getsy in the tough spot. Who are we going to ask? Like if Eberflus does not talk tomorrow, so I don't know who we're going to ask. But I think the vibe around Luke Getsy is he came in, smart offensive mind, worked in the Green Bay system, worked with some good, obviously worked with Aaron Rodgers. Darnell Mooney had high praise for him last year, saying that, if it pans out, we won't have Luke Getsy after a year or two. I think they're going to have Luke Getsy after year 2 if they want him. If they want him, yeah. I think it's not to the point where it's like, yeah, all the blame goes to Luke Getsy. I don't think that's really the case. I think he just has to play to Justin Fields' strengths, like we saw last year when they finally played to his strengths last year. Like middle of the season, they had a crazy run where they had a couple games scoring over 30. They figuring it out. Like Luke Getsy was the talk of there. I mean, he was the guy. Him and Justin were a perfect match. I think we have to get to that. I don't think there's like any like ill will towards anyone or anything like that. I think Getsy's still in the building. A lot of people believe in him. They believe that he can open it up for Justin Fields. We have to see it though. Like this thing could snowball in a hurry. Like they're going into Kansas City. Let's be real. Kansas City's now 13.5-point underdogs, maybe like 12.5 at open. They lose this game by a lot. It could be one of those, it's a national game at 3:30. It could be one of those embarrassment games. They got Denver, they got Washington. Like if it snowballs to losses, they might make a change in offensive coordinator, and that would be Luke Getsy. I don't know. That's not me reporting anything. I don't know any insight on that. But I think we're at that stage where it's like it's proven now. I feel like it's kind of like, all right, let's see it again, Luke. Like, give me the prove it type of mentality. But I think they all respect him. And Luke's a nice guy too. Like Luke is very good with the media. He's very honest and open with the media. And now it's like I said, now he's got to kind of show it on the field.
I hope that Getsy texted Fields like, "Hey man, can you meet for a drink somewhere like nearby, low key?" And first thing he does, so you're gonna run the ball on Sunday, and you're gonna run it a lot.
Yeah,
don't
use your legs.
If you don't have to use your legs. Save my job, save your job.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're kind of looking at now.
Unfortunately, because this is me being optimistic. What? Kansas City has scored 37 points in 2 games.
Yeah.
The Bears have scored 37 points in 2 games.
Yep.
I'm just putting it out there any given Sunday kind of deal. But anyway, we can go down that. We got a couple minutes left here, Zach. The big one of the day, the one that people are probably waiting for us to talk about is the vibe of the Alan Williams situation throughout the entire day. So for those who don't know, and Zach, I'm just going to go through it real quick for everybody because, and please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
After Fields and Eberflus were done, a report came out on Twitter. We are not calling out names. But if you know, kind of deal.
Yep.
There was a report that came out that Alan Williams home and Hallas Hall were both raided. And Alan Williams' home apparently was in this rumor. This is all in the rumor. I will quote rumor, and then I will unquote the rumor, just so everyone knows where I'm talking about here. So, quote rumor, his house was raided week 1 after the Packers lost. Then Hallas Hall was raided today, unquote. That was the rumor. The rumor then got a little bit graphic. Some people started making up some other things. We don't know if they're true or not, but all rumors. I don't want to talk out of context or anything. You guys can go look for the tweets yourselves. So that happened about 1:00. And then from 1 to 3:00, there's speculation. People are like, stuff's coming out. All this stuff is going. Eberflus knows, Poles knows, the McCaskies know, Warren knows. Like it just kept spiraling. It's like, okay, when is someone going to confirm this is real? I think it was 3:15 came around, and then you tweeted out the famous, "This is my letter of I'm done. Like I resign as the Bears defensive coordinator." So, and then everything came out that he resigned so now this is the truth that we know about, is that he resigned due to health, and he needed to be with his family.
Yep.
Hallas Hall was never raided today. You could speak to that.
Yep.
And Williams' home was never raided either. That is the truth that has come out. But Alan Williams is no longer the defensive coordinator of the Chicago Bears. Matt Eberflus is taking over defensive play calling. Is that all correct, or did I miss anything?
No, you did a good job. I mean, that I think the most important part there is there's a lot of speculation. There's a lot of reports. That can happen when things come out. I think, you see the original report and people want to try to connect dots, try to put other reports out. I don't want to say cloud or anything like that. It's just there's a lot of I've been there too. There's a lot of emotions. You want to get stuff out. You want to speculate. I think the only thing we can do right now is we have to go with what the Bears have told us, what maybe the national reporters have told us, things like that. What I could say is what the Bears have told me. I saw the tweet that you're talking about. I saw the follow-ups. I saw other tweets out there. I kind of saw some stuff earlier in the day on Twitter. If you look in the right places, you can kind of find, maybe hints.
I was just looking for all that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't do that often when you get kind of like, okay, someone sends you something like, hey, here's something, maybe keep an eye on. I'm like, okay. Yeah, I can only go with what the Bears have told me. And what the Bears have told us is that, yeah, he resigned. He released the resignation, the statement. It was no Bears letterhead. It was just printed on a piece of paper. It was handed out to everyone in the media that was in the media room. It was after we got done with the locker room. I don't know if players knew in the locker room. I know players were on their cell phones. Players are always on their cell phones in the locker room, so that was not different. Players were talking to each other. Players do talk to each other in the locker room. I can't say I've heard like, oh my God, like this happened, that happened. I did not hear any of that. I think the locker room right now is still a little because of how the season's gone. I think that's, I'll even say this. Last week, after that Packers loss, when they were getting ready for Tampa Bay, I told a couple of reporters who were sitting next to me, I said, the vibes, this is before any of the Alan Williams stuff even came out or anything like that. I said the vibes in here are week 13. They're 2-10, and the season's a lost cause. That's the vibes I got in there. I'm not saying that's how the players saw it, but it was just felt like a very just like blah locker room. Today just felt the same. So I don't know if there's any difference. It's weird. It's like you go in there and then the PR comes down. They tell you this is what's going on. The Bears release a statement. The statement is pretty much Alan Williams has resigned as defensive coordinator. There's no thank you. There's no this. There's no that. And then, we ask questions like, was there a raid today? Was police at Hallas Hall? And I'll tell you one thing. I was at Hallas Hall 10 a.m. I did not see anything out of the ordinary. I think they would have, this is just me, it's my personal opinion. I think they would have told us don't come in today or something if something was really going on. Something like that's major. Like a raid, police act, that is major. So yeah, I from what I've been told from the Bears PR spokesperson, there was no police activity at Hallas Hall. There's no police activity regarding Alan Williams at Hallas Hall. So yeah, exactly. Like I don't know. Like I don't know if there's anything going on. I don't know. I did see like there was like an attorney or a lawyer speaking on the radio.
Alan Williams' attorney. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I do think Courtney Cronin had some good tweets on that as well. She's been fantastic in this. I think if there is something going on, we'll know. There'll be some journalism out there. But yeah, it's just like all I can really go off is what the Bears tell me, and I have to trust the Bears. And it's Alan Williams' business, and the Bears are now down a defensive coordinator football wise. So yeah, I don't know. It was weird. It was just a very shocking thing. Because we all in the media room, I think, I don't want to say everyone because I don't want to speak for everyone, but I'm sure people saw the tweets. As we're sitting in there, like we only get to see a certain amount of practice, so we're sitting in there waiting to go into the locker room, and I think kind of just like people are seeing this and like, what the heck is going on here? And like you said, people made some mistakes online today, and then that's just I think Herb Howard has a really good tweet out right now. I actually just saw it before we got on, but you're going to make mistakes, and I think that's just the age we live in. People want to be right. People want to be fast. It's different journalism, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's different journalism, and that's how you have to adapt. I mean, people, you can make money on Twitter now, which is, it is what it is. And then more power to people that can make money. It's different, and no disrespect to anyone. It's how it is now. So, I'm a little old school. I like to kind of stick to the facts, and I try not to, report things unless I have multiple sources. I don't know what happened in this case situation. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I have no idea. I just can, like I said, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but all I can say is we can only go with what the Bears, tell us.
And but that's the whole case, is that a lot of people want the Bears to have attention, but I don't want the Bears to have attention right now. Not this.
Yeah, not this type. Yeah.
I did want to bring up Herb's tweet before my last statement with you, Zach, because I know I only got you for a little bit longer. But Herb Howard, make sure you guys go follow Herb. Herb Howard 411.
He does a very good job.
Fantastic job. He's been on the show. He's a really nice guy. But
Super
he did
nice guy.
And he did a like you said, fantastic job of summing up all this.
He keeps it real. He will tell you. I mean, he keeps it 100% real, and that's what I like about him. So the whirlwind of a day at Hallas Hall was a lesson for all. A lesson about the difference between freely popping off on Twitter versus factual reporting. A lesson for Justin on the cost of speaking freely to the media, and a lesson to the hashtag Bears about getting out in front of a story. That's that could not have been worded better. Herb is so good at that. And I think with the whole Nate Davis thing too, I respect players. They don't want to come out and say stuff. I do think, they're maybe the Bears could have got out in front of this a little better too. I don't know. Maybe, the answers Matt Eberflus gave today were very interesting, very, very telling. That's something was going on. You don't just, say, I don't have an update, have you talked to him? I don't have an update. Is he the defensive coordinator? I don't have an update. Are you going to call plays? I don't have an update. It's okay, red flag off in my head. Something's going on. It's a
Do the Bears even show up on Sunday at this point? Does the NFL flex them out of 3:00?
Man, this is I tweeted this out today, and I've seen a couple of other people have said it. Hey, the Bears still have to go play a football game in Kansas City against the defending Super Bowl champion. Probably the greatest quarterback we'll ever see in our lifetime as of now. One of them at least, if not the best or most talented. And they have to go win a game. They're staring down 0-3. Going into Arrowhead is not easy. They're 13-point dogs for a reason. And I also said, I was telling someone the quarterback had some interesting comments in his press conference, and that's not even the biggest story of the day. That would be all over ESPN, NFL Live, NFL Network, every NFL podcast.
If everything else wasn't going on.
Yes, exactly. And by the way, your left tackle has a neck injury and he's out for 4 games.
That was the smallest piece of news today. I felt your top 10 pass blocking left tackle last season as a rookie. Yeah, he's out for 4 weeks. And we don't have to have a Jenkins either.
Yeah, you're starting left guard, you're starting left tackles out, and there's a solid defensive line that you're going to be facing. It's
Chris,
like I said,
Chris Jones is licking his chops.
Oh yeah, oh man, it was a weird day at Hallas Hall, and I don't know what tomorrow holds. I hope Ryan Poles comes out and says something. He's been very good at that. If it was Ryan Pace, I don't know. I'd honestly tell you probably no. But
we take it back to the table and look at it.
Yeah, pretty much. We hear from him about this in April, so that's pretty much how it would go. Ryan Poles has been very good at being open with the media and talking to media, and that's what we're very appreciative of it. So we'll have to see tomorrow, but I don't think it can get much weirder than this today.
Well, you just said the magic words, and now it's out in the universe that something could happen tomorrow.
Something. I don't know.
Okay, Zach, you gotta make me a deal. If something happens tomorrow, you have to tweet out right away. We literally jinxed it last night.
We jinxed it. It's over.
We jinxed it. Well, it's all just. Oh my god. Well, I got my my Bears. My neighbor, who is a season ticket holder, a very generous individual. I got my my calendar. What I've been doing is marking down what happened each day.
Okay.
And on this one, I have our call and what the hell happened?
Yeah, what the heck is going on there? What is going on? Yeah, there's been, times where I was obviously not on the beat, like, the Dave McGinnis hire.
Right.
That was just wild. Jeremiah Ratliff thing. I think they were talking about Alonzo Spellman on the score today. God, the sushi was terrible. Like, it stunk up Hallas Hall. The whole Mitch Trubisky turning the TVs off thing was kind of funky. The Thanksgiving with Nagy. God, we were talking to coordinators and coaches at the end of the Nagy era, and they pretty much knew it was over. Like, they knew the whole thing was done. There's been some days, but this has just kind of been like, whoa, like, all right, yeah.
Was the Larry Ogunjobi day weird?
Kind of, yeah, because it just kind of took us by surprise. We're like, wait,
like, what the hell happened?
Yeah, he's not talking. That was kind of weird. And then they just brought in Justin Jones. Like, oh yeah, we signed Justin Jones. We're like, what? Okay. Yeah, that was kind of a weird day. It's always an adventure at Hallas Hall.
I feel like the Bears could get a kick out of this. This is just an idea I'm putting out in the universe. But if some of you guys walk with pictures and memes of like what they're talking about, like when Justin Jones went up there, like that Snoop Dogg meme of him going poo. Like if you held it up, like the Bears could be like, we don't even know what to do here. So, man, Zach, I think you need to be the lifesaver of Hallas Hall's vibes.
Man.
Just walk in tomorrow with some donuts. Hey guys,
maybe I should do something like that. Something we need something in there, some lunch or something. I don't know, like. Yeah, there's been some weird times in there.
Bring in Portillo's. You'll win everybody over.
Oh yeah, that's an easy one. That's
a layup waiting to happen. But man. So Zach, we had you on tonight. Yeah. Thank you for coming on. I really appreciate it. And I want to have you on again in the next couple of weeks. Okay. I would like to come back to this. Hopefully the guys are 3-2 in a couple of weeks.
Yes.
Just putting that out in the universe. And that's when things will get fun because there's a lot for us to talk about right now, but it's stuff that we don't want to talk about.
Yeah,
we're forced to talk
about. Yeah, not the positive stuff. Like I always tell, people always say like, the one I always get is like, oh, you're negative in the off season when they're struggling. I'm like, yeah, if the Bears were better, I'd be making so much more money doing this. Like, I want them to be good. I've been doing this since 2016-ish. And like, I've seen one actual winning season, 2 playoff seasons. They haven't won a playoff game. Like, trust me, 2018 was so much fun. Everyone had fun. The media had fun. The locker room was having fun. The guys were having fun, like chopping it up. These seasons where they lose, it's just like no one wins. It's hard, man. It's really depressing.
You know what? Walk in there, Zach. You can come pick it up on your way because I know you're coming by. I have a giant boom box, and
they have them in there. They have them in the
I'm saying
rooms.
You need to walk in.
Oh, me walk in, yeah. They'll
put it
like,
down.
This goofy guy.
And just start playing swag surfing. Like, bring back the one good thing that was brought from the Nagy era and Club Dub, and just start blasting it because. Get the guys a little loose. Like, all right, it's Wednesday. Let's get after it. But, man.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Or honestly, you just got to do something crazy. Someone's got to do something crazy to get that locker room going. But we will check back in a couple weeks. But Zach, thanks for coming on, man. I always appreciate it. And guys, make sure that you go follow Zach. His name is right under him at Zack Pearson. He is always up to live tweets. I'm retweeting him. We're going back and forth. So make sure that you go and follow Zach. But Zach, thanks for coming on, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Anytime you want.
Absolutely. And with that, guys, thank you very much for joining this episode of Justin Under Your Chicago. My name is Nick Brody, joined alongside Zack Pearson, and we'll see you guys next time.